recitator in his own words, and God help, a Southsider. But I think we'll let him away with it.
I feel a little bit out of my depth here on the north side, you know, especially with the north side, man. This is Barry Yates.
Because we'll have to forgive all his south side twang in his accent. He doesn't have any of the north side lilt that I have. Sure, we'll get around it.
I'll try my best.
So anyway, what are you going to take?
This is a Brendan Keneally poem. It's called Herself and Himself. They're driving in from the cricketing fields of Dublin, past the Five Lamps, Empress Lane, and the corner of the Torkers, where you'll still get wind of the bombing of the North Strand in a war we were no part of, or so we thought. It isn't always we know what wars we're in. There's shopping to be done, young mouths waiting for baker's bread. She knows the shops, the men and women behind the counters. She knows himself too. On a tough journey, a few words will do to ensure the future will be fed. She does the shops, she gets what she wants. They have 2 creamy pints together, then hit for home, between the work fields and the sea. Herself and himself, words and silence, peace and war, you and me.
So just to give you kind of a run over the format, we're not really going to tell you where we're going. It's a mystery tour to that extent, but we're going to drive for Derek. He knows. We swore him to secrecy, so don't try bribe him. Anyway, so myself and Paddy were going to be playing a couple of tunes along the way, Dublin tunes specifically, just catered around the area. We'll sing a few songs, do a few poems, and if anybody in our fleet, in our audience, has a piece that they might want to do that might be relevant to one of the areas, just make a shout.
Or even any stories or anecdotes you have relating to any of the places we are, because that's what we're here to do, experience, you know, these places in Dublin, and we want to try and find them in as well. So if you have any personal stories or anything like that, do share them. Thanks.
Being one of the largest red light districts in all of Europe. Supposedly the conditions were so bad there that they were regularly raided by this European Commission that would take care of red light districts, and they were cleared out and businesses were shut down and sprung back up again in a week. It's said that as a red light district, it wasn't like some of the red light districts you might find in Paris or Amsterdam. So this one catered to all kinds of people. And it was cheekily referred to and said that it was kept in business by a large British military population in Dublin. And supposedly that was what kept it in business for a very, very long time. And there's a wonderful song which I'm sure you're all familiar with called The Monto, and it details all the different types of people who might be found in the Monto. And it seems that the solution to every problem in Dublin was taking them up to Monto. So you'll know the chorus. Well, if you got a wingo, take her up to Ringo, where the waxy sing all the day. If you've had your fill of porter and you can't go any further, give your man the order back to the quay. But first go up to Monto, Monto, Monto. First go up to Monto, Langaroo. To you. You heard of the buckshot Foster, the dirty owl imposter. He took his mott and lost her up the furry glen. He first put on his bowler, then he buttoned up his trouser, and he whistled for a growler, and he said, my man, take me up to Monto, Monto, Monto. Take me up to Monto, Langaroo. To you. You heard of the Dublin Fusiliers, the dirty old bamboozlers. They went to get the childer, 1, 2, 3. Marching from the Linden Hall, there's one for every cannonball. And Vicky's going to send yous all o'er the sea. But first go up to Monto, Monto, Monto. First go up to Monto, Langaroo. To you. Well, Carey told and skinned the goat, O'Donnell put him on the boat. He never should have been afloat, the dirty skite. It wasn't very sensible to tell on the invincibles. They stood aboard the principals day and night. Be going up to Monto, 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 going up to Monto, Langaroo. Do you know when the Sir of Arusha and the King of Prussia landed up in the Phoenix in the big balloon? They asked the Polish band to play the wearing of the green, but the buggers in the depot didn't know that tune. So they both went up to Monto, 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 both went up to Monto, Langaroo. To you the Queen, she came to call on us. She wanted to see all of us. I'm glad she didn't fall on us. She's 45 stone. Next to me, Lord Mayor says she is the soul you've got to show to me. Why no, Mum, there's some more to see. And he took her up to Monto, 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 took her up to Monto, Langaroo. Leroy G to you, I do, I do. Or as they would say, they're born and reared. But anyway, the thing we always remember at Sean McDermott Street is the swimming pool just behind there, which pretty much every kid that came from this part of Dublin, it was the highlight. When summertime came around and the local youth club or something would organise a trip there, it was just the thing. And you'd be dropped up on a bus and then left at the Chipper in East Wall, where you'd get, you know, whatever, chips and a bar of sausage for 50 pence or whatever like that. It's a little bit more expensive nowadays, you know, than back in my youth. Anyway, the other thing about the swimming pool here is that my dad is from Broadstone and would have spent a lot of time around this area as well, and in the swimming pool. And he was actually a lifeguard there when he was a teenager. And he said that while he was a lifeguard there, the conditions in the flats here and everything were so bad, and some of them didn't have running water and things like that, that sometimes the kids would come down literally just to get a wash. He would explain that some of the kids would be so, you know, filthy from the lack of facilities that they'd have to be hosed down before they go in. And supposedly, like, at first they were very embarrassed about it, but by the end they would relish in it. They jump around in the hose and they'd all jump into the pool together. So so as you can imagine, like a very much a working class area, and kind of what a lot of people might call the kind of the dregs of the peasantry around the area.
It's the same. There's a place on the south side as well, where I'm from. So I have there's a swimming pool in my area as well, and it was also a place where kids were sent to have their weekly wash. So it must have been a Dublin tradition or something.
And you know, we've just passed the Magdalene Laundry.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, yeah. Especially around this time now, it's interesting to see. There's a poem here by Paul Ameen called Boyne Winkles, which I'm going to read out. And when I was looking at this poem a couple of days ago, it struck me about the language in it is very much Dublin, you know, and there's like phrases from, say, a mother to her children. So it's by Paul Ameen, who I think is involved. She's in academic.
She's Ireland poet.
Yeah,
she's a poet for Ireland, and she's originally from this area.
Yeah.
I know she's in Trinity now at the moment, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a professor of poetry.
Professor of poetry, yeah. So I wasn't sure whether it was English or literature or something. So this is called Boying Winkles. My mother would spare me 6 pence and say, "Hurry up now, and don't be talking to strange men on the way." I'd dash from the ghosts on the stairs where the bulb had blown out into Gardiner Street. All relief. A bonus if the moon was in the strip of sky between the tall houses, or stars out, but even in rain I was happy. The winkles would be wet and glisten blue like night skies themselves. I'd hold the tanner tight and jump every crack in the pavement. I'd wave up to women at sills or those lingering in doorways and weave a glad path through men heading out for the night. She'd be sitting outside the Rose Bowl bar on an orange crate, a pram loaded with pails of winkles before her. When the bar doors swung open, they'd leak the smell of men together with drink, and I'd see light in golden mirrors I envied each soul in the hot interior. I'd ask her again to show me the right way to do it. She'd take a pin from her shawl, open the eyelid, so, stick it in till you feel a grip, then slither him out. Gently, mind.
The sweetest extra winkle that brought the sea to me. Tell your ma I picked them fresh this morning. I bear the newspaper twists bulging fat with winkles proudly home, like tortoise. What strikes me about the language they use, you know, in Dublin is very specific to, you know, and especially in inner city Dublin, you know, the language is almost poetic in itself, you know. So these areas are very much in touch with that.
What do you know about inner city Dublin, Pat? So as we said earlier, this place used to be known as the Gloucester Diamond, and there's a great poem here which deals a little bit with the north side south side feuds, or we're saying poem, it's actually a song, this feud that we have, and it's about kind of a Romeo and Juliet story, and instead of Montagues and Capulets we have Northsiders and Southsiders, and specifically in this song Bohemians and Shells, because at the time they were on the opposite sides of the Liffey, which they aren't nowadays, but anyway, it's called The Butcher of Gloucester Diamond. There lived a butcher once a time down in the Gloucester Diamond. His second name was Bellicose, his first name it was Simon. He loved a mott from Francis Street and eagerly he sought her, but her father wouldn't let them meet, for he lived across the water. Oh, and the butcher, he was a demon. The girl's father fancied shells. The butcher liked bohemians. If she mixed up with the football shirts, he never would forgive her. Take back your heart, my north side man. Me girl won't eat your liver. On either side along the quays, no man's land was sighted, and neither one could cross the way unless they were invited. So every evening when the hand was 10 right on the jiffy, the people gathered round in bands to shout across the Liffey. Oh, and the butcher, he was a demon. The girl's father fancied shells. The butcher liked bohemians. If she mixed up with the football shirts, he never would forgive her. Take back your heart, my north side man. Me girl won't eat your liver. The girl and the victualler grew very tired of meeting, for she'd to shout across the way and he'd return her greeting. So they made a plan, a daring plan, her father they would slaughter. But for this plan our butcher man had to get across the water. Oh, and the butcher, he was a demon. The girl's father fancied shells. The butcher liked bohemians. If she mixed up with the football shirts, he never would forgive her. Take back your heart, my north side man. Me girl won't eat your liver. So they hurled abuse across the stream and then rowed over on it. A curse or two they had to spare, so they both rowed home upon it. And in a bed on Francis Street there lay a face unshaven. So he took the night he had for meat and he sliced them up like bacon. Oh, and the butcher, he was a demon. The girl's father fancied shells. The butcher liked bohemians. If she mixed up with the football shirts, he never would forgive her. Take back your heart, my north side man. Me girl won't eat your liver. Well, there my story, it must end. I'm sorry it wasn't shorter. But if you add a verse or bend the chorus, you can make it longer. Now the man who lay down in the bed wasn't father to the daughter. There's many a child on the other side has a da across the water. Oh, and everybody! The butcher, he was a demon. The girl's father fancied shells. The butcher liked bohemians. If she mixed up with the football shirts, he never would forgive her. Take back your heart, my north side man. Me girl won't eat your liver. She will never give it up. It's off each morning to the pub, and then she's in for another little drop. And the heart of the realm was Dicey Riley. Poor old Dicey Riley, she has taken to the sup. A poor old Dicey Riley, she will never give it up. It's off each morning on the hock, and then she's in for another little drop in her heart. Oh, the row was Dicey Riley. Oh, she walks along Fitzgibbon Street with an independent air, and then it's up East Summerhill, and as the people stare, she says it's nearly 1:30. I'll just pop in for another little one. And the heart of the row was Dicey Riley. Everybody! Poor old Dicey Riley, she has taken to the sup. A poor old Dicey Riley, she will never give it up. It's off each morning to the hop, and then she's in for another little drop, and the heart of the row was Dicey Riley. Long years ago, when men were men and fancied Mayo Blong, or lovely Becky Cooper, or Maggie's Mary Wong, one woman put them all to shame. One woman was worthy of the name, and the name of the dame was Dicey Riley. Poor old Dicey Riley, she has taken to the sup. A poor old Dicey Riley, she will never give it up. It's off each morning on the hock, and then she's in for another little drop, and the heart of the row is Dicey Riley. Oh, but time went catching up on her, like many pretty whores, and it's after you along the street before you're out the doors. The balance weighed and the looks all fade, but out of all that great brigade, still the heart of the row is Dicey Riley. One more time, go on. Poor old Dicey Riley, she has taken to the sup. A poor old Dicey Riley, she will never give it up. It's off each morning on the hock, and then she's in for another little drop, and the heart of the row is Dicey Riley. That song certainly paints Summerhill as a very kind of jaunty and lively place. But what I think is interesting about this poem is it takes a very, very different angle about Summerhill, and one that you mightn't be, so inclined with. It talks about it at night and the kind of moodiness and atmospheric kind of nature of it.
It's a very atmospheric poem, and even the phrasing in it, it's broken up into 3 short lines in each verse. So it's a short one, but the language in it is really nice, and it paints a lovely picture of Summerhill. It's called Summerhill Moon, and it's by Jessica Traynor. She's a young enough poet, she's late 20s or so. So, Summerhill Moon. October evening, I ride the bus over summer's high hill, eye to eye with the moon in the pinching black sky. When I get home, it's balanced on the roof of the Spring Street flats. I call you out, press my hand in yours. Watch the moon as it languishes like a lemon slice fallen from some deity's cocktail. It's far from cocktails we are, and the moon is a bitter gift to give, but a gift nonetheless, held in the heat between our palms. It just paints one of the most beautiful pictures of any place in Dublin I've ever heard,
But it can speak for itself, because it doesn't look like that to me. Day. And as you can see, we have the Wellington Monument on the side. Now, I don't know a lot about it other than it being to commemorate the battle. But I heard a story saying that there was a small room in the bottom of it, in the base of it, and they had a feast or something in it when it was built. And as far as I'm aware now, someone could correct me on this, but there was a man left inside who died and was left there for years and years on until somebody realised that he'd gone missing and he was left inside and he was exhumed and given a proper burial. So that's my little tip about this. But anyway, so yeah, the Phoenix Park, famous for lots of things, a great place for a picnic, back in the day, a courting session, a papal visit, whatever you like. But on the subject of courting sessions, we found a very interesting poem in the book with an interesting title. What is it there, Paddy?
Making Love Outside Arson
Now,
You might be familiar with that.
Someone remind me, who was the president before Mary McAleese?
Mary Robinson.
No, sorry, before Mary Robinson.
Hillary.
My dad told me, he says back in the day when the presidency didn't have as much status as it has nowadays, because sure lots of people don't even know what to do, that he supposed he would answer his door. it was such a blasé kind of position that people would just knock on the door and he'd come up and invite them in for tea or whatever. So this might give you a hint of how blasé it was at the time and the things you could get away with doing outside.
Right, so it's Paul Durkin and Making Love Outside Arson Uachtaráin. When I was a boy, myself and my girl used to bicycle up to the Phoenix Park. Outside the gates we used to lie in the grass, making love outside Arson Uachtaráin. Often I wondered what De Valera would have thought inside his ivory tower if he knew that we were in his green grass, making love outside Arson Uachtaráin. Because the odd thing was, oh, how odd it was, we both revered Irish patriots and we dreamed of our dreams of a green flag making love outside Arson Uachtaráin. But even had our names been Dermot and Grania, we doubted De Valera's approval for a poet's son and a judge's daughter making love outside Arson Uachtaráin. I see him now in the heat haze of the day, blindly stalking us down. And levelling an ancient rifle, he says, "Stop making love outside Arson."
So a place you might not want to be caught making love around here is in Dublin Zoo, though a few, as far as I'm aware, have been caught, you know, it's groovy types. A little story I have about the place. On my sister's 4th birthday, I think I was around 7 at the time, her and all her schoolmates went to the zoo for a trip, and on the day that she went there, on her birthday, a baby orangutan had been born. And back then you could do a tour and they could bring in to places the orangutans and feed them, whatever. And they hadn't named the orangutan, but after my young sister Emer went in and played a bit and fed it, and they decided to name her Emer. Now I don't know if she's still there. I don't know if Emer, the baby orangutan, is still there, or how much of a compliment it is for an orangutan to be named after you. But anyway, there's a great Dublin song. Myself and Paddy are going to switch the reins here. Paddy's actually going to sing a song.
Yeah, I'll sing a song
called Zoological Gardens. And if anybody is on YouTube later, check out the YouTube video for this song by the Dubliners. I won't give it all away, but it's Barney McKenna holding a baby lion.
I haven't actually seen it myself. I want to check this out. But yeah, a song. It's one that I got from the Dubliners, and then again, if you know it, do sing along. Oh, thunder and lightning, it's now lark when Dublin city is in the dark. So if you've any money, go up to the park and view the Zoological Gardens. We went out there be Castleknock. Says she to me, sure we'll count on the luck. And I knew she was one of the rare old stock from outside the Zoological Gardens. We went out there on our honeymoon. Says she to me, if you don't come soon, I'll have to get in with the hairy baboon up in the Zoological Gardens. Says she to me, me lovely Jack, I like a ride on the elephant's back. If you don't get out of that, I'll give you such a crack up in the Zoological Gardens. Oh, thunder and lightning, it's no lark when Dublin city is in the dark. So if you've any money, go up to the park and view the zoological gardens.
So unfortunately, we're coming towards the end of our little tour. We're at the end of our little tour, and we just thought it'd be very fitting to read the poem, and I'm going to read it. See, we're doing something. The book is line quality, you know. If you ever go by Patrick Kavanagh, do you have the page number there? It should do. As well, I was just going to say, this is a wonderful, wonderful book. Unfortunately, I'd only come across it recently, and we've really only scratched the surface with the great stuff.
There's lots of stuff in there. It was actually kind of hard to decide on which ones were included.
Yeah. And I said we could have done 20 tours. We could have done a week long with all the great stuff in here. And I really, really recommend picking up. They're in all the good places. I could,
187.
187. I couldn't recommend it higher, Susie. If you're interested in Dublin, and I mean, as well, someone was saying there's a lot of different sites which you can see the Easter 1916 with WV8's, the kind of really revered stuff, and then the really kind of earthy stuff that you might have heard today. It's really, really great. So I really recommend it. So anyway, Paddy's going to accompany me on a little slow air on the whistle, and we'll run away with this. If you ever go to Dublin town in 100 years or so, inquire for me in Baggot Street and what I was like to know. Oh, he was a queer one, fall the lead Lido. He was a queer one, I'll tell you. My great-grandmother knew him well. He asked her to come and call on him in his flat, and she giggled at the thought of a young girl's lovely fall. Oh, he was dangerous, fall the lead Lido. He was dangerous, I'll tell you. On Pembroke Road, look out for my ghost, dishevelled with shoes untied, playing through the railings with little children, whose children have long since died. Oh, he was a nice man, fall the lead Lido. He was a nice man, I'll tell you. Go into a pub and listen well. If my voice still echoes there, ask the men what their grandsires thought, and tell them to answer fair. Oh, he was eccentric, fall the lead Lido. He was eccentric, I'll tell you. He had the knack of making men feel as small as they really were, which meant as great as God had made them, but as males they disliked his air. Oh, he was a proud one, fall the lead Lido. He was a proud one, I tell you. If ever you go to Dublin town in 100 years or so, sniff for my personality. Is it vanity's vapour now? Oh, he was a vain one, falls the lead Lido. He was a vain one, I tell you. I saw his name with 100 others in a book in the library. It said he had never fully achieved his potentiality. Oh, he was slothful, fall the lead Lido. He was slothful, I tell you. He knew that posterity has no use for anything but the soul. The lines speak the passionate heart, the spirit that lives alone. Oh, he was a lone one, fall the lead Lido. Yet he lived happily, I tell you.